The cell theory states that all living things are composed of cells. To understand their structures, let's take an imaginary journey into the cell. Hi, and welcome back.
Looking inside cells. Let's take an imaginary trip inside a cell. Your ship doesn't have any easy time getting inside the plant cell. It has to pass through the cell wall and the cell membrane. The cell wall is a rigid layer of non-living material that surrounds the cells of plants and some other organisms. A cell wall helps to protect and support the cells. Unlike plant cells, the cells of animals and many single-cell organisms do not have cell walls. Instead, a protein framework inside the cell called a cytoskeleton gives the cells their shape. And here, you can identify the cytoskeleton. Cell membrane. After passing through the cell wall, the next barrier you must cross is the cell membrane. All cells have cell membranes. The cell membrane forms the outside boundary that separates the cell from its environment. It's kind of like our skin in humans. The cell membrane controls what substances come into and out of a cell. Everything the cell needs, from food to oxygen, enters the cell through the cell membrane. Harmful waste products leave the cell through the cell membrane. So, the cell membrane also prevents harmful materials from entering the cell. In a sense, the cell membrane is like a window screen. The screen allows air to enter and leave a room, but it keeps insects out. Fortunately, on this strip, your ship can slip through. Now, we are going to study about the nucleus. And once I describe each part, try to identify it in the picture. Notice in the picture that the nucleus is surrounded by a membrane called the nuclear envelope. Just as a mailing envelope protects the letter inside it, the nuclear envelope protects the nucleus. Materials pass in and out of the nucleus through pores in the nuclear envelope. So aim for that pore just ahead and carefully glide into the nucleus. Chromatin. You might wonder how the nucleus knows how to direct the cell. The answer lies in those thin strands floating directly ahead in the nucleus. These strands, called chromatin, contain genetic material, the instructions for directing the cell's functions. For example, the instructions in the chromatin ensures that leaf cells grow and divide to form more leaf cells. You can think of the nucleus as a repository for genetic information in cells. A repository is a storage area. Nucleolus. As you prepare to leave the nucleus, you spot a small object floating by. This structure, a nucleolus, is where ribosomes are made. Ribosomes are the organelles where proteins are produced. Proteins are important chemicals in cells. Organelles and the cytoplasm. As you leave the nucleus, you find yourself in the cytoplasm, the region between the cell membrane and the nucleus. Your ship flows in a clear, thick, gel-like fluid. The fluid in the cytoplasm is constantly moving. In the cytoplasm are many organelles, including mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, Goggy Bodies, chloroplasts, vacuoles, and lysosomes. Each of these organelles have specific functions in the cell. Let's study each one. As I explain each function, try to identify in the picture. Mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell because they convert energy in food molecules to energy the cell can use to carry out its functions. Endoplasmic reticulum. As you sail farther in the cytoplasm, you find yourself in a maze of pathways called the endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum's pathways help form proteins and other materials. They also carry material throughout the cell. Ribosomes. Attached to some surface of the endoplasmic reticulum are small grain-like bodies called ribosomes. Ribosomes function as factories to produce proteins. Some newly made proteins are released through the wall of the endoplasmic reticulum. Goggy bodies. The Goggy body can be thought as a cell's mail room. Goggy bodies receive proteins and other newly formed materials from the endoplasmic reticulum. They package and distribute materials to other parts of the cell. Goggy bodies also release materials outside the cell. Chloroplast. Have you noticed the many large green structures floating in the cytoplasm? Only the cells of plants and some other organisms have these green organelles called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts capture energy from sunlight and use it to produce food. Chloroplasts make leaves green. Vacuoles are the storage areas of cells. Most plant cells have one large central vacuole. Vacuoles store food and other materials needed by the cell. Vacuoles can also store waste products. Animal cells do not have central vacuoles. Lysosomes are small, round structures containing chemicals that break down certain materials in the cell. Some chemicals break down large food particles into smaller ones. Lysosomes also break down old cell parts and release the substance so they can be used again. In this sense, you can think of lysosomes as the cell's cleanup crew. Cell diversity. The variety of structure in cells reflects difference in the cell function. Cells come in many shapes. Some cells contain certain organelles but not others. Look at the picture you have. You have a nerve cell and a red blood cell. Notice the long finger-like extensions of the nerve cells. This extension helps transmit information from one part of your body to another. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout your body. Their flattened shape enables them to fit through tiny blood vessels. Now, each cell or each type of cell that we have in the body have a different function.
I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching and until the next one. Bye!